Brandy, and this is Making It My Own.
So now, here is our copper bicycle wheel, all fixed up. I only did the front because no one's going to see the back. I'm trying to be stingy with my paints. Here's some more of those picks. These are some thrifted picks. They are maybe grapevine, I'm not sure, but they came off of another wreath that I picked apart as well. Love doing that. If you're at a thrift store and you just think to yourself, gosh, I really don't need another wreath, but I love the greenery, buy it anyway. It doesn't cost much. You can take it apart. You can use your greenery on another project, and you can use a wreath for something else. It's perfect. 2 for 1, right? Okay, so we're going to do zip ties instead of using wire this time. It saves me a little bit of time. I have an abundance of zip ties, so this is what I'm going to do. This is not going to be completely covered. It's going to be more like 3/4 in greenery, and then you're going to be able to still see part of the wheel, which I like. And you can see there's a little part there where it was still attached to the wreath that it was on, so I'm just going to cut that off and get it off of there. And now I'm going to choose the next little one. I chose the top one because it had berries in it. This little piece does not have any berries in it. I want to keep it balanced, so I am paying attention to that type of thing. So I'm just going to lay this over the wire from the other pick. And then I'm going to take this one, kind of curve the branches a little bit, make sure that's what I want, and I do like that one. So I'm going to zip tie that on. It's overlaying that branch that's underneath it as well. Okay, and when you turn it over, you can also add wire or some more of these zip ties anywhere along the way that you see, to keep it in the curve, to keep it a round, a more formed wreath. That's what I'm going to do. Okay, so now we're going to add it the other direction, and we're going to leave a gap in the middle because we're going to do something different there. So I'm just pushing that down. This one has some berries in it. I'm going to turn it and then secure the back side. This particular pick was a little bit larger than the ones I had on the other side, so it kind of stands on its own pretty well, but we're going to add another one to it. So now when it's hanging, this is how it is going to look. You can see that it's like 3/4 covered, and then that top, say 12 o'clock to 3 o'clock, is going to be open. There'll be nothing there. Now I'm pulling those out. They are on wires, so I can pull them apart and fluff them up and make them look nice. Going to make them stand out a little bit more, like a pretty fluffy leaf pile. Now we're going to work on this section. We are going to make a funky bow. So I'm going to choose a variety of beautiful ribbon. This one came from Dollar Tree. This orange, like a burnt orange, it came from Dollar Tree. These coordinate nicely with these colors. This is a thrifted piece of ribbon. It's like a silk on wire. So this is going to be with it. And then you'll see me adding some more on shortly. So what I'm doing is taking about 18 inches of the ribbon, and I'm going to fold it in half and start making me a pile down there. 18 inches of each one of those, laying them down. You can make it longer. You can do 2 feet. You can do, however big you want your bow to be. I'll show you what I mean in a moment. So I'm going to use a couple of different ones. I ran out of my plaid, so I had to actually just use one of those, but I'm going to fill in with something else. And then this is some more thrifted. I love this one. Thrifted wired ribbon. It's all wired, and that's very important for this type of a bow. So you're going to hold your bow up. You're going to go down about 4 inches. You want your tail to be longer than the bow. Okay, so you see what I'm doing here. I'm pinching it up. I'm going to hold it in the crook of my fingers, between my first finger and my thumb. We're going to do the same thing. I'm measuring it against the bow that's right beside it, or the loop that's beside it, so we have the same measurement. You're going to do this, pinching it and then tightly holding it in the crook of your hand there. You can see all these loops will be the same size. You're going to grab your pieces up like this. You're going to pinch them into your hand. I'm just measuring. You can see what's going on here. All the tails are hanging below. Gonna go on to my next color. And you're gonna add all your pieces in this exact same way. Kind of separate the ones that are similar. You know, you wanna space them out a little bit. You're gonna have more freedom to move it around in a bit, but when you're initially doing it, kind of space them away from each other. So here you go. You almost have a little balloon bouquet in your hand. You're gonna take your zip tie, and without letting go of your bow, see what I did there? I crossed it right across my hand, and then I'm going to cinch my bow. Now I'm not going to do this completely tight until I check and check again to make sure that these are the same height. What I've done is just cinched them up enough to hold them together while I move them around. Then I'm going to tighten them up. So what I just did there was tighten, tighten, tighten as tight as you can get it, and then cut off your excess. Okay? Now when you first start doing this, you're going to think, what have I done? I've just wasted all of this ribbon. But no, give it time. This bow takes time and fluffing. See, I'm pulling all the tails out and apart, like an octopus. The loops on the top are the octopus head, and all of these are the legs that are spreading out underneath it. You see? Flip it over, pull them apart. Separate your patterns, separate your colors. You can do that because this is wired ribbon. So you're going to pull, twist, fluff, and keep working on your bow. Get those pieces where you want them and fluff them. You can twist. If your pattern is underneath, twist it and it will stay. Good quality ribbon counts a lot. Sometimes the ribbon that you get at Dollar Tree is not very sturdy and it won't hold. You have to really fuss with it. But some of it's really good, like this orange and this burlap. This stuff is some great ribbon. I have used it for years and it has never let me down. So keep doing that. You want to dovetail all of your ends, and then I will show you how you can just kind of curl those. If you put them between your first and second finger, your pointer and your middle finger, there you go, and you run it down the ribbon, you will put a bend in the wire, like an even bend, so it will arch it up. Or see here how I did that? There you go. Or you can just bend it with your fingers. Just walk down it with your fingers and curl it under. That's what you do. You want to curl each one of those little ends under, and then you can trim it where you need to trim it, and it's going to look nice for you. Now this part is optional, but this is how I attach this type of a ribbon to my arrangements. I'm going to take a piece of thin floral wire. It needs to be sturdy enough that it won't, that you can feed it through the ribbon, and you're going to just feed it through a couple of the ones that you can reach in the center there. So I'm just going in a circular motion, going through the ribbons on the bottom. You can see there. Then I'm going to pull them up so that I have the little, see there, little hanger holders, little free wires. I'm going to give it an initial twist or two, then I'm going to flip it over and just wrap it around the wire on the back of the wreath. Now you may think, okay, you just turned that upside down and squished it, and now you got to refluff it. Well, yeah, you do. You do have to refluff it. But I want you to know, in crafting, one of my favorite things to do is fluff a bow. It's not for everybody, but I love it. I love seeing a transformation. Look at that bow. That bow is the perfect bow for this arrangement. But I'm missing the fact that my plaid ribbon there is just, we're going to fix that. We're going to add some more plaid. So I'm going to take a curtain hanger, or this may be a shower curtain hook, who knows. I'm going to take the hanger part off, take my copper paint, and I'm going to spray paint this ring copper. While it's drying, I'm adding some more of that plaid ribbon. I had a tiny bit left. It wasn't long enough to put it in the initial bow, but it's enough to add some more tails. So I'm going to dovetail it, fold it in half into a V, and I'm going to place it right there. And I'm going to leave the tails a little bit longer than the rest of it because I really, really love that ribbon. Love it. Okay, so here's some faux leather ribbon. It is a brownish color. It's the only one I've been able to find at Dollar Tree, and I'm going to add it to this ring to make a hanger. I've seen these on items at craft stores, and I thought, you know, I could definitely do that myself and show you guys how to do it so that we get a more high-end look without paying $50-$60 for it. I could definitely see this hanging in Kirkland's or, you know, someplace like that, an at-home store. So you're just going to feed this through the top, pinch it down. You can protect your fingers, you always should. I just didn't because this is really thick and I didn't need to for this, I didn't feel. I'm going to add some here too to secure my ring. See, they're saving the paint. It was still silver on the back. And there we go, look at that. Alright, I want to add right here just a little pumpkin. I felt like it needed a little more of a reminder of fall coming up. I'm going to put that partly on the ribbon and partly on the frame and on the leaves that are underneath it and press it down. One of these floral blocks, you can get them from the Dollar Tree. I have some thrifted greenery. And this is sort of a fall colored greenery. I have some pigs that were thrifted, some little daisies and some sunflowers, a little pig from the Dollar Tree, an embroidery hoop, and I'm just going to take my rotary cutter and just start slicing through with the plastic on to keep it a little bit cleaner. It's all going to come off in a moment. Once I get my mark all the way around, I'm going to take my metal ruler, and of course after removing the plastic, I'm just going to slice right through that. Then I'm going to take the two blocks and put them side by side and push them down onto this wooden embroidery hoop. This is going to put a little trench or a little mark in the back, ideally. I'll turn it over and press a little bit harder. And then in order to get this to stick, I'm going to put some glue along the back, a good bit. It's going to have a lot of weight from the flowers that are going to be on it. And I'm just going to take some scrap paper and put that on the back and just use it as a bandage. Then I'm going to take some floral wire, wrap around one side. You don't have to squeeze this too tightly. You don't want to cut into that foam any further than you already have. And you're just going to make a little knot there on the end. Twist it, lay that down so you don't poke yourself, wrap it around to the end and back around. Put those two pieces of the ends together and then lay those flat. You can cut them down if you need to. So I'm going to start greening this, and I'm going to just use my clippers and start cutting off these all the way down to the base. These come in a variety of lengths, so I've got some shorter ones, some taller ones, some that are a little bit thicker. And I'm just going to start placing those around on the sides. This is going to be, I guess you could call it a half wreath. It's not going to go all the way around. Most of the florals are going to be on the bottom half or the bottom 3/4 of the wreath. I'm going to start placing them around kind of at a slant there in the sides. And then build upward. Place some of them in the front so that you have a little bit of extra in the front to cover up your greenery. And you just keep applying those in there. You have that wire, so that kind of helps hold them in place too, gives them a little extra support. And I'm putting these in at an angle and facing either to the right or to the left. We won't have any coming straight up. That's going to be where we're going to put our flowers. So I'm going to cut this little remnant of a pick and just randomly put these in. These are not going to be in a pattern because there are 3, so I can't evenly put them on the sides. And you will see me moving some things around in this wreath. I do this a lot when I do floral arrangements. I put things down, and then if I don't like the way it's looking, I just move it. You can do the same thing. You got to get it where it looks good to you, how it feels balanced and good to you. So I noticed that some of them were just too long, which was making it look too heavy. So I just pulled it out, give it a little trim to some of those. You push your greenery up, just like when you are making a flower arrangement. You can push your greenery up toward the flower and then trim them down. you'll see me do that with these little flowers. I'm just going to push these up and trim it off. Then I'm going to start putting in the flowers. Again, with this wreath, there's no particular pattern. I try to be balanced when I do arranging, but you know, with cottagecore, and this, my spin on the cottagecore is this kind of a funky 70s vibe where there's a lot of mushrooms and greens and golds and those types of colors, and that kind of a wild look. So I'm just going to keep filling it out around the greenery. I'm starting, of course, on the outsides with the florals, just like I did with the greens. And I'm just going to work my way inward and then upward. And you can see kind of how I'm doing this here. If you have a process that works better for you, feel free to do it that way. You can leave some a little long, cut some a little bit shorter, like you would see them out in nature. Any of you guys around in the 70s? I know you were, because I know that most of my viewers are actually over 45 years old. Okay, so now I'm going to take these big, beautiful sunflowers that were thrifted and just place those here and there. I'm not going to do this, you know, in a perfect pattern like I said before. I'm not going to do that. I'm just going to, see, I've moved the one off the top. I'm going to put it over here on the side. I don't want it to look too planned out. One in the middle. And then another thing that you can do is if you have any florals that still have greenery on them, push that greenery up to the top even if the flower is gone. You know how sometimes we get them at Dollar Tree and we're missing pieces? Cut that piece off and use the greenery on the pick. You can still use it. Look at these beauties that came from Dollar Tree. These are gorgeous. Amaranthus, is that what it said? I'm just going to cut these off. Add those in here. This kind of reminds me of like the trolls from way back. You know, the garden gnomes and the trolls from way, way back. The coloring, and it just looks like it could be on a tree stump somewhere. You know, the little fairy house underneath it. Oh, I just love it. I know with cottagecore, some cottagecore decor, you see a lot of pastels and English garden type things, but you also have that woody, mystical feel, and that's what draws me in. You know, I'm still at the heart of everything, a lover of all things rustic. So, yeah, this just really feels like, if I could call it rustic cottagecore, that's how it feels to me. I almost expect to see a little creature peeking out from underneath these flowers. A little frog on a toadstool. Yeah, something like that. You know, these are plastic and they're on wire, which is bendable. Move your things around, put them where you want them and how you like them. And that's what I'm doing here. Just kind of fidgeting around a little bit and get them exactly where I want them. And so I decided I wanted to add a couple little extras, and I had a couple of extra pieces of, I think these are mini moms, and they're from last year from Dollar Tree. And I wanted to just add that in a little bit too, just here and there. I don't know why, but Bob Ross is just really popping into my head right now. His little brown happy afro. I'm really thinking about him right now. This could very well be something that he would paint. Did y'all watch Bob Ross on PBS when you were young? Because I sure did. Kids think that they found something new when they talk about listening to how soothing and calm his voice is. They just don't know. We're so familiar with Bob. Okay, and then we're just going to keep going. Again, like I said before, if there's something in there that you don't like where it's at, it doesn't look right, you look at it from all angles, take it out, move it. Of sunflowers here, some of these picks, some flowers, just little clippings from what I had last year, some more little random pieces, some thrifted pieces, and then these also came from the thrift store. You can get as many picks and pieces as you would like from Dollar Tree. Of course, that will be very similar. I'm going to take the 2 trees out of the box. We don't need the bottoms and legs. I'm going to overlap them so that their stems kind of go into one another. You'll start by pulling the tree apart, apparently, by pulling the branches out and upward, because we're going to be laying it down so it'll be flat then. I want to get 2 little spots available for me to put my zip ties on so that it will hold these tree trunks, if you will, together. So I'm going to just hold it tightly in one hand and go ahead and put this around one end. So this will be close to the end of one of them. And you want to cinch that all the way down, and then go to the other side of your little branches and wrap that around. I don't think I'm doing a very good job explaining it, but you can see what I'm doing here. Then you're just going to clip off the extra because we don't need that part. Now you can really do the part where you fluff everything out and move it around. So putting these 2 trees together, we're going to have a 24-inch swag, which is perfect. And I'm just going to pull the little branches to the side, and like you saw just a minute ago, sometimes they'll come off, but that's not a big deal. These are not really going to be something that's going to make this beautiful. This is something that's going to help us attach all of our florals down to the base. So this is just really our bottom. You won't see much of this whenever we're done. Continue to fluff out from side to side so that you have it flat on the bottom, and pull each one of those apart. Sometimes they're kind of stacked together, just like those 2. So just be sure you pull them apart, because that's going to help you whenever you put your florals down. You'll have more little picks to, or little tie areas to hold your products down, in other words. So this is what it's going to look like. It's thicker in the middle and more tapered on the ends. And then I'm just showing you here that we have about 24 inches, maybe a little more. I'm going to start by just taking one of my wispier pieces, and I'm going to put it in the background. On one end, it's going to be overlapping just a little because I don't want the pine to necessarily show through. Pick another piece and put it down here. If you don't have something like this at home already, and maybe you have a thrift store that you don't particularly care for, take an old wreath or an old swag or an old garland that you already have and pull the pieces off. You can certainly reuse things that you've had in the past and repurpose them. I'm calling this a Dollar Tree product because you really can get everything you need from the Dollar Tree. Although some of my products that you see here are actually, you know, thrifted pieces, but you can get them at Dollar Tree. Something very similar. Okay, so you can see here I'm kind of going with the taper, and I'm just using the pine in the background to kind of give me my borders and my boundaries for where I am putting my pieces of this. I don't know if I want to call this a vine or what this is, these green pieces that I'm putting in. But I think the color is much better for fall than the bright green pine, of course. But you know pines are evergreens, right? So they're always going to be green, and all year round they're always going to look the same, even in the fall. Yep. Okay, so you can see the shape that I got here. Directly pointing outward on each end, and then at an angle crossed over on each end, kind of moving inward a little bit. And now working from the center, I'm just going to add a piece here. This is going to be pointing upward, and I'm just going to wrap it. You can see that these little wired pieces really help lock those. Now I'm going to start working with my pretty, I think these are oak leaves, yeah. I'm going to start putting these down. Now I said thrifted because I'm pretty sure this particular greenery was from a thrifted wreath that I have, but it might not be, because I had another wreath too that I repurposed that was something that I had had for years. So I'm not exactly sure, because these have been pulled apart like this for years. I just use them again and again because I love the coloring in it. Alright, so we're going to use kind of the same pattern that we did when we put the other pieces down, and we're just going to add our greenery or our leaves right on top of that. You're layering here, right? And I'm sure to make sure that the tips of the leaves are hanging over the edge of the swag. Now for some of you who are familiar with wreath making and swag making, you probably don't want to see this in normal speed, but it is helpful from the information I've been getting, the feedback. It is helpful for some people to be able to look a little bit longer and be able to see what I'm doing a little bit more thoroughly. So I'm going to do this in honor of those viewers and subscribers that need a little extra time. So you can see how it's looking so far. They always look terrible before they start looking good. And I would say that this looks pretty rough right now. These have little wired ends, and then sometimes you can just kind of thread them through what's underneath if you're going to keep them inside. However, if you're going to be putting these outside, you should probably be adding a little bit of Gorilla Glue to the picks before you put them down, or maybe putting a little Gorilla Glue over the areas where you have them pinned. Okay, you see, so this piece just came apart here. I'm just going to glue it back on. No big deal. That was easy enough, wasn't it? I'm going to take my other little pieces here, and this is a different type, but pretty much the same coloring. I'm going to add that. I love the bright colors in this. And I'm just going to continue to put these around where I see that they need to be put. But everything is kind of facing outward from the center. That's what we want, because we're going to do something different in the center. I'm going to put these little berry pods and cut them apart in little pieces, leaving enough stem for me to add glue so that I can place them down in there. I know I'm kind of out of camera angle. Y'all, I gotta tell you, I do get out of the vision of the camera sometimes. It's because I consider myself an intuitive crafter, meaning when I get in the flow of something, all of the technical stuff just falls away, and I am exactly doing what I feel looks right, and I just kind of go with my gut. So that's kind of why I'm not like perfect with the camera, but you get what I'm talking about, right? You understand? I know a lot of people say that they craft that way too. So moving along, we're going to start adding those beautiful sunflowers. I'm going to add one to each end, and then I'll start adding the smaller ones because there were larger and smaller ones on the same pick. If that's not the situation for you and you have all one size, that is not a big deal. It will not matter at all. So now I'm going to put this sunflower a little bit off from the center, and we're beginning to work toward the center. You can see now, and the things in the center are going to be a little bit taller than what you have on the sides and on the ends. We're building it upward because this swag could actually be used as a centerpiece. Isn't that great? 2 in 1. Now I'm going to add in the little orange flowers. I like a variety of textures and sizes. If you saw my last video where I did the really pretty wreath, yeah, I just like a variety of textures and things. It's more interesting, I think, to me. And you want a little movement, you know? I think it's pretty. So this is a hot bush. I started off by pushing up after they were cut off, pushing the leaves up to the top so they'll be seen. And I'm going to put these in 3s on the top in 2 areas. So there's my first bundle of 3. Over here I'm going to add another bundle of 3 because that's so much orange and yellow going on there that I wanted to break it up with a little bit of this cream color. And then single here and on the other side. Then I'm going to take 3 of them together and put them right together in the center, either bottom or top, whichever way. And if you're hanging it, then it's going to be on the side. No big deal. Okay, so when you get to this point, you can go ahead and tuck under any of the greenery that you don't want seen from the pine. Just tuck that under. You can fold it, tuck it. You can add more greenery if you want to do that. So once you do that, you're going to have a little extra space. I just went ahead and used berry picks here. I'm going to take some of this, I believe it's called pitberry vine. And you can get these in the little rounds at Dollar Tree. Almost every season they have them in different colors. These are gold. I took 1 strand of it, wound it around the end of a tool, and just cut it in half. And I'm going to pull it out and just glue it down kind of out from where the sunflowers are. You'll see in just a minute. There you go. Just a little extra something, and you can do more of these or you can leave this out if you want to. And this is how it is going to look. Gorgeous. And it would be pretty If you flipped it over and did the other side, or if you want to use it for, you know, a swag, if you wanted to put it above your door, you could do it that way. You could use it in many positions, and you could put it on your table. It would be very pretty as well. So if you decide that you do want to hang it as a swag, we're going to use a little bit of burlap, and I'll show you how to make that tie for the back. Very simple. You're just going to double up one piece, pull the knot down where you want it, and then you have your loop. So this is a hanging loop. Flip it over, and then you can just use the same little branches from that Dollar Tree Christmas tree and just twist it around, poke it down in there, twist it so that it will hang up. It's not heavy at all, so no worries about that.
Swag. Now this is a Dollar Tree sign. They have a variety of gorgeous signs. Pick whichever ones that you want. And then we're going to have some pieces that go with this that are going to coordinate with these colors. So that bluish green, aqua turquoise, teal, whatever color you want to call it, creams. We're going to set this off. And of course, you know, I'll have my typical brown burlap in there as well. Now, to kind of give this little sign a glow up, you're going to take some dark brown paint or some dark gray, something like that, and go down these lines. As you can see here, where they made this project, it kind of looks papery and kind of cheapy because you can see little white flecks. If you go down your centers like this with a darker colored paint, it really makes it look higher end. In my opinion, it really makes a difference. And I'll show you when I'm done with this, one side, the difference between the two sides and the look of it. You can already see there on that O what a difference that makes. So we're just rubbing a little bit on. I have like a fine tip marker. I'm just going to put that in there and then rub it back off. And every bit of the paint that needs to stay is going to stay right where we put it. So you see the difference here? Look at the difference in the two sides. That makes a big difference. You could also, I guess, use a Sharpie or some type of a marker if you've got something that's narrow and long enough to fit into that crack. Just so easy. And it really does make a big difference in the appearance of this little sign. But you do this or leave it out, whichever way you prefer to do it. And you know, maybe some of the signs are in better shape than mine was. Okay, feel free to distress your edges if you need to. Now, this is a wreath, a rectangular wreath or swag type form. It's wire and it has little, I guess, tinsel type branches or holders on it. It was $5.99. I got it from the thrift store, so I'm not sure where it originally came from, but you can get yours at any craft store. Or if you don't want to use this type of form, you can use pipe cleaners and hot glue them right to the back of your sign. Just not even have that big form back there. This is just going to make it a little more sturdy. And since I had it, I wanted to take the opportunity to try it out. Now I've just flooded over the wire there with some hot glue. And I'm actually using my cold temperature glue with this so I don't burn myself. And then I'm going to take some, I think this is 3M tape, and put that right over the top. That is really gonna make a good strong hold so that this swag doesn't go anywhere. Nothing's gonna fall apart, hopefully. Ideally, I suppose I should say. And we're going to do that on every one of those little crossbars there. Now we're going to start layering on our prettiness. This is some 24-inch deco mesh. This is one piece that I found at the thrift store. Wasn't really sure what I was going to do with it when I found it, but I was so excited that there's no glitter in it and no metallic in it. I had to have it for something. It turned out perfect for this project. I'm just going to start it off by tucking it in the back and wrapping it around tightly so that it doesn't come apart whenever I am tugging on it to make the little poofs. So now we're going to go down about 12 inches. You can see we're going down 12 inches. Walk in your fingers toward the middle. Let your sides go under. It's going to make a better little poof. And then we're going to go up to the very next little grabbers there, that little section, and we're going to press it into the frame and then twist it tightly. Okay, so again, we're going to go down about 12 inches. We're going to walk it toward each other with our ends under, so the poof's in the middle, just like that. Press it into that section tightly and then give it a twist. And we're going to continue the same process all the way up. There we go, grabbing it up, bending it over the top, and then we're going to continue all the way back down the side. Feel free to measure these to get exact measurements if you would like. I didn't need to do it that way. I didn't feel the need, so I just guesstimated. Continue all the way around, and look at that. I had just enough to go all the way around. Now I'm just going to pull my little poofs out a little bit, press the first little top edge underneath if it's coming out. That way my sign is going to be, you can really be able to see that sign in the middle. Now this is some 5-inch burlap. There's no wire or anything in here. I'm just going to use this to go on the outside. I'm going to tuck it under. You can see how I tucked it under that deco mesh. And the same little process, kind of scrunching it up in the middle and then giving it a twist to hold it in place. We're going to do this again, about the same thing. It's going to be about the same measurement, about 12 inches. Go up. It's just going to go like a frame on the outside of the deco mesh. Pushing it together in the middle and then twisting it down. Now, if you don't want to twist it tightly to begin with to make sure that your measurements are about the same, you don't have to twist it in completely tightly, and you can certainly untwist it and go back and make adjustments if you need to. Okay, so I'm just going to go over the top like a little hoodie. You can tell I have kids, right? Yeah.
Until we're back in our original starting place. You can tuck the edge to the back and cut it off. Okay, so now I've got some thrifted. This is like a linen and glittery orange plus a blue Dollar Tree ribbon. We are going to be cutting these down in 10-inch pieces. And you want to have enough of each ribbon to go in each one of those ties on your swag. So that's what you're going to see me do here. I'm just going to start cutting that. And I'm just measuring it against the one before it. Makes it a little easier. Okay, that's me counting to see to make sure I have enough. Then we're going to dovetail the ends to make them nice and neat. I hope you guys are doing some of these crafts that I've been showing you. I hope that you have been trying some of these and that you are at least getting some inspiration from all of the things that I have been showing you. Lots more to come, so be on the lookout. Okay, so I'm going to overlap. I'm going to make an X. Going to open up one of those ties, whatever you want to call those. Going to twist them in tightly in each of those sections. I'm going to use my fingers to curl those out. Now it's an X. Just make your adjustments however you like. The next one we're going to put in the opposite direction. We're still going to keep the green on top, but we're going to cross it over the other direction. And then wrap it down. I'm putting these in definitely tighter because I know this is the last thing I'm going to wrap in here. So I'm going to go ahead and tighten them down as much as they need to be before they are tucked away. Continuing the process, alternating the direction of your X's all the way around. Ready, ready, ready for some fall breezes. Desperately. It's just humid and ugh. Okay, so here we go. We only have 2 left on the bottom. And you can see I'm kind of fluffing them out as I go along. I'm going to place this one down. That's some good Dollar Tree ribbon right there. It really holds its form. I'm concerned about the top of here, so I'm going to cut off that cord that you would usually use as a hanger, and I'm going to cut a 6-inch and a 5-inch piece of this pretty orange and tan ribbon. I am going to dovetail each one of them. One will be longer than the other, and we're going to make a little bow tie bow. We're going to put the longer piece in the back, the shorter on the front. Going to pinch it together, and then it's going to be so cute. Look at that. Then you're going to just use whatever type of jute you want. You can use your original hanger that you just had on the top of that sign to tie off your bow. I'm going to tie in a double knot so nothing comes loose. Trim it up, and look how cute that is. That is super cute. Little hot glue, and we'll put it in its new home, right at the top on the pumpkin stem. And this is how it looks. Not bad. Not bad at all. So now is the time that we tuck back all of those little pieces of greenery. Or the little pieces of the, I don't even know what to call those things. We're just going to call them tinsel because that's what it looks like, a Christmas tree branch. Tuck them all to the back. Once they are hidden, we're going to take some of this greenery. Now, get yours from the Dollar Tree if you'd like. You can get them anywhere you want. This happens to be something that I thrifted, so I got it very inexpensive. It did come originally from Walmart. It's a $2 clearance item according to the tag that I found on it. I'm going to layer up the pieces of the leaves that I want to use. Some are going to be single, some are going to be doubled, and with a little hot glue, we're going to tuck them in and around those little ribbon sections. If you have some mini pine cones, if you have some berries, if you have some of those little ball ornaments, you could use those. You can add anything you like on your sign to make it your own. That's what we do here. We make it our own, right? I'll make mine the way I like it, and you make yours the way you like it. But feel free to make yours like mine if that's what you like. So you're going to have leaves in all of those sections. And just kind of look and see what looks good. They don't all have to go in the same direction. Totally up to you. I'm going to take a little bit of floral wire, feed it through the deco mesh, twist it around, and we're going to have make a little hanger for it. So you're going to choose whatever types of ribbon you like. I'm going to choose 3 different kinds, and I'm just showing you that you can get a great variety in the fall section at Dollar Tree. I'm going to use some thrifted, gorgeous burlap ribbon. There's no wire in here. It's just so pretty and ruffled. I'm going to use a thrifted pumpkin. Just going to use the sign part in the middle. I'm going to use a Dollar Tree wreath. And I'm going to use a thrifted pick. And I think these originally came from Walmart. They had a yellow clearance sticker on them. Okay, so this wreath is about a 12 by 12. It's kind of squished out of shape. It's more like an oval than a circle. So I'm just going to have to work around that. I'm going to start by wrapping this wreath just like this with a little bit of hot glue. I'm going to protect my fingers here. Add a good bit of glue. Press that down into the wreath. Then I'm going to start winding around where the fringe goes right next to that center ruffle. Okay, so we're going to do this all the way around. You can see I'm lining that fringe up because this is layered burlap. If you don't have a layered burlap, you can certainly use just the regular plain pieces and just be sure that you cover up all of that vined wreath underneath. You can certainly use a styrofoam wreath. You won't be able to see it, but you have to be careful about glue on those. Just keep that in mind. And I'm just going to keep wrapping and wrapping and wrapping till we get back to the beginning. Now we're going to put more glue down and press it down into that and hold it for a minute so that it doesn't unwind itself. Keep in mind, if you're putting this outside, you're going to want to use something more like a Gorilla Glue so that the humidity doesn't make your hot glue release. Time to sharpen those scissors, I think. So I've just taken the stand off the bottom of the pumpkin, and I'm going to work with the orange side of the pumpkin rather than the chalkboard side. I think I'm going to put it on the bottom, and we're going to use this wreath like an oval so it's going to stand up like an egg. I'm going to cut off 2 pieces of my floral wire, and we're going to use those to glue down to that pumpkin and hold it to the wreath. I also have 2 black pieces of scrap paper here that I'm going to use to put on top of our glue. So folding it in half like a hairpin, I'm going to put a good bit on each side, pressing it down and then pressing the paper right over the top. It just gives it a little more security so that it doesn't come off while we're finagling it to get it into that burlap on the wreath. Okay, we're going to do the same thing with the other side, and I'm just using the clamps that came from Dollar Tree because they help hold everything in place when you're moving it around so nothing comes dislodged. After the glue has had a chance to set up, we'll continue. Okay, so here we go. Removing the clamps and then making sure again that the pumpkin is where I want it to sit on this wreath. I'm going to press these wires to the back and thread 1 piece through each side. Just like so. And then twist them around to secure them in place and clip off any excess. There's a little slack there in my wire, so I will be able to push the pumpkin down a bit so it will sit flush on the bottom. So now I've got it where it needs to be, right sitting in the bottom. Now we're going to start working on the greenery or the leaf part of the arrangement. This is what gives it that rustic look. We're going to use some colorful fall leaves. I'm going to cut them off their little plastic picks. Start putting a little base underneath this pumpkin, almost like it's sitting in a nest of leaves or a leaf pile. Who doesn't like sitting in a leaf pile? Okay, so I'm just going to add some hot glue. I'm going to tuck around and over that little glue strip. Don't be bothered by the fact that it's exposed and terrible looking on the bottom because it'll be covered up. I'm just going to be sure that I've taken a variety of the leaves, the ones that match the look that I'm going for, and I'm just going to place them around. Not so much in a pattern, but just, you know, like maybe they fell down out of the tree themselves. A little lighter one on top. See, this is easy. And you can just be creative and do this however you want. You can also add some little mini pine cones or berries or whatever you like on yours. I'm going to add some on the top, and I'm going to add some of these pretty little white flowers that came from Dollar Tree. I know that some of the ribbon I'm using on top is going to be white, so I want to use some of this white down here in the bottom too. Kind of want to carry that color through. So I'm just cutting off the little knobby parts on these two, and then I'm going to use the other flower with the little stem part to lay it sideways underneath there. And it almost looks like one single hydrangea. Now we're going to choose the ribbon. This is the really fun part. We're going to make a pretty bow. I'm going to use some plaid ribbon. This was thrifted, and I have 2 different Dollar Tree ribbons. They are all wire ribbon, and we're going to use 18-inch pieces. Okay, very simply, we're going to fold them over, pinch in the middle, and then walk our fingers to each other, and we have a bow. Simple. This is a quick wreath. This is nothing difficult. So the bow should be the same. We're going to do the same thing with the green. Same exact process, folding it over, pinching it, and then walking your fingers toward the other fingers. You're going to stack these up in whatever order that you would like them to appear when you put them down on your wreath. Same thing here with the plaid, and then we're just going to put him right on top. You can fasten this down with a zip tie like I am, or you can use some floral wire or a twist tie, whatever you want to use to put those together. Fluff the bow a little bit, that's what I'm doing, trying to make sure everything is where it should be. Then do your final tightening. I'm going to cut off the edges, fluff out that bow, and then I can start either dovetailing it, which is what I thought I was going to do at first, or just cutting it at a slant, and that's what I'm doing here. Just going to do slants in each one of those tails, all the way through in all the colors. So far so good, right? Easy. Now I'm going to put this off to the side over here, and right now I'm just looking to see if the bow is the size I want it, if it needs to be trimmed, what I want to do with it. And I think I'll use another zip tie here to just attach it right onto the wreath. This is so easy to do. Make sure that when you pull it tight that you pull that little knobby part to the back so that it doesn't show on your beautiful wreath. I'm going to fluff out my little bows, the tails and the little loops. I'm not really concerned whether or not those tails are even, and we are not looking for perfection. Now I'm going to cut two 8-inch pieces of this plaid because we're going to extend this out a bit, and I'm going to cut two 8-inch pieces of the green. You can certainly do the tan color as well if you want, but I had the burlap in the back, so I didn't feel like I needed to have more of that color. I'm going to fold them over and dovetail them. You can do them at the same time. Makes it a little bit more timely. You can get things done a little quicker if you do it like this, but you do whichever way you are most comfortable. Alright, so I'm going to fold it in half, and I think I want to tuck these on either side of that bow to extend it outward because I feel like it needed more. I could have added more leaves, but I feel like the bow needed a little bit better of a presence. So this is what I came up with. I am going to put it underneath this one too. Okay, so far so good. Now let's do the same thing with the plaid. We're going to fold it in half and tuck it underneath on that side with a little bit of hot glue. It will fit nicely right in there. And see how that just automatically extends that bow out? Certainly if you have a different bow in mind, something that's bigger, you could do a bigger bow, or rather than using 18-inch pieces, you could try 24 inches and make an even larger bow to fill up your space. But I like this. I think it's cute. I like my little petite bow. And I think that this bow is okay. I want the main part of the attention for this wreath to be the pumpkin. But I think that bow grabs your attention too, doesn't it? One more of those flowers, going to put it right in the center of that little bow. I feel like that sets it off perfectly. I'm going to double up my leaves. You can do this, it's so easy, just a little glue in between, and then press that up right up in the middle. I've got lots of spider webs because I'm using a cool temperature for this rather than my high heat glue gun. Now for the hanger, I'm just going to take a long piece of jute, and I'm showing you here what I already had done, and just going to tie a knot just like that. I'm going to slip it underneath the bow tails and then press the ends right through the loop. I'm sorry that you can't see that part, but you get the idea. And then that's how we're going to hang it. And you can fluff your tails, you can fluff your bows, and our project is complete. Do you like this little wreath, and will you be trying this wreath? got some deco mesh here. Don't worry, this is the nice deco mesh. Got it on clearance 2 years ago, I think. Some pipe cleaners, of course. I've got some leaves left over from last year's stash. I've got some flowers I pulled off of an old wreath. We're going to recycle these. And this is my 16-inch wreath form from Dollar Tree. They come in a variety of colors, I think silver, green, gold. Now we're just going to start off by prepping this wreath, and we're just going to wrap these around at the cross sections on the outside and then in the middle on the inside. And don't be intimidated if you're going to click off of this because you're like, oh gosh, I can't stand deco mesh. There's no way. I don't like dealing with it. I don't like fooling with it. If you get a good quality deco mesh and you use the right technique, it makes a big difference in your wreaths. Okay? I encourage you to save money where you can. But if you're the kind of person that is annoyed by shredding deco mesh, you know, buy a little bit better of a quality and try it again and see what you think. So there are 12 pieces here, and we're going to start off with this deco mesh. Now this is just the small deco mesh. It's not the 10-inch. So what is this? Probably 5-6 inch, whatever the standard measurements are for deco mesh. And I am going to push it down into the inside. It doesn't really matter where you put it. You could tuck that tail on the inside. You could cut it off. You can zip tie it, whichever way you prefer to do it, but I give mine a good secure twist. We're going to measure down 8 inches, and we're just going to be making small poofs. These are not going to be enormous. All right, so we'll go from the outside and then to the next one, which happens to be on the inside. We'll get our 8 inches and we'll go over to the next one. If you have a cutting mat or one of those sewing mats that has the measurements on it, this could be done a whole lot easier. But for a majority of the people who watch my videos, it's probably not in your home, in your crafting budget right now. So this is another way you can get that done, okay? I want to save y'all money wherever I can. All right, so I'm just bunching it up in my fingers. I'm trying to make sure that the outside edge and the inside edge, or each edge, are kind of tucked under where I pleat it. And that helps with the whole unraveling thing too. But these are seamed. They have a seam on the edge, which is fantastic. So I'm going to continue around. We've crossed over our original point, and we're going to go back the other direction. So we'll be going the opposite way that we were before. And this will have a row of poof to the inside and a row of poof to the outside. Now, if you decide that you have some 10-inch mesh that you want to use instead, you can just use your 10-inch mesh and just go around at one time, and you'll probably have all the fullness you need. But we're going to make up for that by going around twice. Nice and full. Now this would be a good deco mesh for the wintertime, right? But I thought it was appropriate also for the fall. Well, first off, it came from the fall section, and I think cotton. And when I think cotton, living in the South, that's harvest time. That's, you know, close to fall. That's when things are changing, you know. So this is my representation of that cotton running through there. I'm going to fluff it out in the direction that the poofs are, and you can see how it's looking so far. I've got some of this wide ribbon. It's 4-inch. It's a very pretty green, and I think it's an appropriate green going from summer into fall. It's got a kind of a warm tone to it. And I'm going to do this the same way I did the deco mesh, by just grabbing a bunch of it, placing it down, and wrapping it very tightly in there. Very tight. And then I don't have to measure this time because I'm going to go over the row of poofs and make sure that this sits right on top. And you'll see what I mean. It's sitting right over 2 bubbles, right? I'm going to feel of it, and you see it sits just right on top, and that's the idea. We don't have to measure it again because we know that the poofs underneath are 8 inches, so this is going to be approximately 8 inches. So it's the same height, so it looks like it's floating above or just sitting on those bubbles. Very easy to do. And this will go from the outside to the inside, outside to the inside, all the way around, okay? It's going to be back and forth, rather than sitting directly on top. It's almost going to be like a side-to-side pattern. Hey, if you're enjoying this so far and the instructions and the encouragement you get on my channel, I would love it if you would subscribe. So are you pro? Do you like the idea of using deco mesh, or are you not a fan? Have you become a fan since you started watching my channel and I've shown you other techniques? I'm just curious because they really are pretty simple and they give you a big impact for what they are. So if you give it a shot, you just might like it. Once we've gone all the way around, I am going to, first you need to make sure, definitely, that you have twisted that down as far as you can, okay, that everything's very secure. And then you can just clip off the excess on the ends. Don't clip into the section where you twisted it though, because you will lose that gathered space and you're going to have to get another one out and do it all over again. Okay, so now you can see that these go side to side, in and out all the way around. Just creates a little movement. And it looks like a a ribbon kind of wound in there. There we go. Tongue twister. And then I didn't have quite enough to go all the way around. So the section right there is where we're going to put our little swag that we're going to make. Now with flowers that you get, you want to be sure that rather than having each layer stacked on top of one another like this, that you kind of twist it just a little so that you have all of your little spaces covered. It makes a fuller flower and a more realistic looking flower. So these pieces, I thought, okay, this is a pretty green, but we're going to add a little bit of yellow and orange to it, like it's, you know, going into fall. I want to see how big I want that to be and if I like the layout. And then I'm going to just glue it together on each side, almost identical. You know, we're going to use the same method. Easy enough to do. Very easy to do. Then we'll do the other side. You can use picks from the Dollar Tree. You can take apart an old wreath maybe you used last year and it's not your style anymore. You can take it apart and make something new with the pieces. So I've laid this down to see how long I want this to be or how much space I want it to take. Then I've wired it together. Then I'll take another piece of wire, go right around the center. I'll wrap it a few times to make sure that it's secure and also give it a little more stability for the little swag we're making. And then I'll take those long pieces, tuck them through the deco mesh and onto the wreath form below. You don't want to pull it too tight because I don't want it to be sunk in there. I want it to be sitting on the top, just barely nestled in. And then once that's wired down, you can just start gluing in your flowers and any other type of adornment you would like to have on this wreath. It took a very small amount of time to make this wreath. It really did. That's the thing about it. It may take you a little while in the beginning to get used to techniques and methods, but once you get it and you start building your confidence, you can move on to even bigger and better things. I think this is a good wreath to start with. And I love the colors in this little wreath. So here's a wreath I made a long time ago, just from vines in my yard. It is 18 inches by roughly 15 and a half, something like that. Use any one you have. I like that this one is an oval for the way I am going to decorate it. So I've got some of these flowers from the Dollar Tree. These are from Temu. The green eucalyptus is thrifted, and so is this branch of beautiful leaves here. It's even got a little acorn there. All right, so you know we got to start by assembling our pieces, pushing the foliage up, and then cutting these off. I'm going to do the same thing here. It is way too big, so I am going to clip that. Same thing with the flower petals here. We're going to twist and open those petals up, and that's much better full flower. Easy twist, and there it is. Okay, so once everything is trimmed down, including the greenery over there, we're going to start deciding where we want everything to be. And I know that I want this to be right in the center of the arrangement we're doing, if you will. So I'm going to put it here a little on the high side, and I'll start laying down those beautiful, beautiful dark leaves. I'm going to add some on the top of the eucalyptus, some underneath on the bottom of the eucalyptus. This is going to be a little bit more of a moody rustic wreath that I think is absolutely beautiful with those traditional fall colors. So you let me know what you think in the end here. Go ahead and use hot glue to hold your pieces in your wreath. You'll see me add a little glue here and there, but for the most part, I have to recycle my pieces, so I don't add as much glue as I recommend you add, especially if you have wind or in your really hot areas. You want to be sure that everything's secure and not in your neighbor's yard. I'm going to keep going around here, making this as full as I would like it. I do know that I want it to be as thick as that beautiful green flower in the middle, so I'm trying to make sure that the borders and the lines of this wreath remain an oval shape. So I'm trying to honor that by keeping that form on the side, and you can see that it is still in that almost like it's an oval shape, and half oval on that side, right? I'm also going to tuck some pieces right under here. I'll add a mom right here above it. And then I'll continue to add in the florals. If you have one of those little glue pots, you can dip the end of your stem in and put those in your wreath. That would be perfect. I have one, but I haven't been using it because I don't sell my pieces and I recycle a lot. But, things may change in the future. We'll just have to see. I've had a lot of people ask me about different pieces that they're interested in, so who knows what may happen in the future. But not happening now for sure. Okay, so then I have these beautiful rosebuds. Look at the color in these. They're stunning, and they look so similar to what's going on in those leaves that they just make the perfect set. And then that pop of green in there. I'm going to add a little more sunshine into this piece by putting some of those beautiful flowers from Dollar Tree in there. And I'm just going to be placing them where they're staggered around. And I want them to be separated enough that they make a little impact, that you can see that they're making that little pop here and there. I think that is so pretty, and it's one of those things about crafting when you put something that's unexpected together. And you maybe wouldn't even think about putting a flower this color in there, but in the center of those flowers is exactly the same color family as what we have in our foliage. So you might keep that in mind when you're doing your wreaths and your floral arrangements. I'm gonna put one right here because we really want to extend that down. And remember, they're on wire, so just bend them. You can bend those any direction you like, rather than just adding glue to them and sticking them flat down. Let's give them some dimension. Now I'm going to use some of this ribbon that I have, and I'm going to be cutting, what is that, 8-inch? Yes, 8-inch pieces. And then they'll be dovetailed on both sides. And we're just going to use these little pieces of ribbon to kind of give it that little extra wow factor. Maybe unexpected, just a little bit of elegance. And I'm just going to add probably 3 or 4 pieces in here just to, give it a little something. And it looks a little festive with these little tails poking through here. But no bow on this one, y'all. And then, of course, when you get your placement, you can go ahead and get the glue and then place that down. You can also use picks to put these together instead of, using glue if that's what you would like to do. But this works for me. There are so many different ways to do things that are neither right or wrong, right? So we can do things differently, and that's okay. If it works for us, that's okay. I just like the look of this, You maybe don't expect to see it in there, but it makes it personal, and it helps this piece really be something that I made my own. And it brings my heart joy to look at it, so, you know, I encourage you to do the same thing. We want crafting to be joyous. We don't want to be frustrated and annoyed and think everything's wrong. If it's beautiful to you and it brings you joy, it's perfect for your home. Don't worry, I fixed my little crushed flower up there. But I really like the look of this one, and I hope that you like this one too. Do you remember this little guy here? Used him on a wreath early in the year, and we're going to use him again. We've got some greenery that I've used in staging my pieces for a couple of years. We're going to use that. And then this is a placemat. It's almost like it's jute cord that has been decoupage or stiff. It's still flexible, but you know. We're going to start off by pushing these grassy pieces together, just because for me it gives it a more full look, and I think it's going to give me the look that I like for this wreath. I'm going to cut off enough so that I have some length there to wrap with the floral wire shortly. I'm going to straighten out my branches and move these up just like I did with the other ones. We're moving up, moving up, moving up. Y'all need to think outside of the box when you're doing your crafting, because you're not going to find everything I find at the thrift store. And our Dollar Trees, I think we all know at this point, vary from store to store. So think of ways you can use things and what you could do to make things your own. Maybe you could starch something. Maybe you could starch an old doily or something. Maybe you could use that. That would be really pretty. All right, so I'm going to take those leftover pieces we used in that first wreath, and I'm going to use that to attach my beautiful fall grasses down to this placemat, which is now, of course, going to be a wreath form. When I can have it overlap, I will have it overlap because I want this to look continuous all the way around and nice and full. So you can double them. I'm going to wrap it and push those ends to the back. And then keep that in a circular pattern and go around and connect the end to it. If you don't connect the end to it, it's going to try to stick straight out, and that is going to interfere with the cohesiveness of the circle and the shape of this wreath, and we don't want that to happen. So I'm laying one on top of the other, covering up the stem. I'm slightly flexing out that metal piece that holds all of them together, you know, the stem, and I am just wrapping them around and then poking the little pieces in the back. Now the pieces in the back can be trimmed off at a later time if you would like. And just keep going around here. Everything is going in a clockwise motion. So if you start in clockwise motion, continue that way. If you start in counterclockwise, continue that way. Just overlapping, overlapping. Think this is easy to do, y'all. This is not hard to do. Definitely is not hard. Say it with me now. I can do this. I can do this. Can do this. Keep going here. And I know for some of y'all, you're going to see these wreaths and you're going to be like, I can do so much better than this. Well, that's wonderful. Now we're back to the end. We've overlapped, we've completed our circle, and now I'm fluffing that grass out. I want a little bit of an overlay, and I want the rest to flex outward. Here is some leftover thrifted ribbon that I have, and I think I used it in another project, so I'll be out of it soon. And then one of those little wreath forms that comes in the double pack that you get at Dollar Tree. I am going to almost make what I did before with the sun catchers with the little peekaboo aspect in the wreath by wrapping this all up, and then this will become the base for where we put that beautiful acrylic stained glass piece on there. Get back to the beginning. You can take your hot glue and glue that ribbon down on the back. You don't want your finished edge in the front. And then I'm going to take a little bit of this wire and take that out. I'm going to go on the inside because it occurred to me if I go on the inside and do it, when I put the beautiful deer on top of it, you won't even see how it's connected. So I thought that would be a better idea than the outside. I'm just using some of that same floral wire, pushing it right down so it grabs that inside ring of that wreath. I want to position this where it's a little bit above because I'm going to add something to this. So I want to have a little bit of room on the bottom. I'm going to feed this through that beautiful jute placemat, twist it around, and then those pieces can be cut off and covered. Excuse my head. And then I'm going to go to the second section, and then I'll go to the third section, wrapping it around, pressing it, cutting it off, however you like it. And if you're going to put this on a glass door, be sure that you cover up the pieces where the metal is, because you don't want this to scratch your door. Or you could even put this on a window because the light is still going to go through the back of that mat and you'll be able to see the light on the deer. So it is positioned a little bit higher than underneath. I know where I want this to be. So now I can just lift up slightly and then add some glue to hold this down into that ring. It also keeps that deer from looking so tiny in this huge section. This is not a big piece. You know, you could cut your placemat down, but I think this has given you enough inspiration. You just see it and then you change what you need to change, right? So I'm going to add the smaller bow on top of the bigger bow, and I wanted to bring that blue denim color in because of the blue that's in the deer, in the little plaque there, or the little sun catcher. I'm going to grab another one of those little pieces of pipe cleaner endings. So we're really saving our money here because we have double purposed the chenille stems that we used. We used them all through this wreath. Now you can adjust your bow sizes because sometimes the loops get a little bit wonky and one's bigger than the other. You can adjust that and you can just pull it. Then you can either dovetail or slant your ends. Just give them a nice clean look. I like to leave the bottom bow with their tail just a little bit longer if they hang like this, so that the smaller pattern ribbon shows a little bit more against that solid color. Then you can add some hot glue or use the wire to attach it. You can put it on the inner wreath, or you can move it down, or you can leave it off altogether. All together. This would have been a cute Father's Day gift, I think. Cute. So I've got some ribbon here. Some of it is thrifted and some is from Dollar Tree. You know, just whatever pretty fall colors you like. I have a little scrap of foam and some floral wire. I have a foliage pick here that it's going to coordinate with my beautiful dahlia. And this was thrifted. And then I have some of these pretty picks too that were thrifted. This is a gorgeous, gorgeous picture frame that I thought would be perfect for a fall project. So we are going to use this as our base. So normally a picture frame has these little, some type of hooks or little switches or whatever you want to call them that actually close the backing on and the glass in so that it doesn't come loose. But since we don't have those pieces, we're just going to glue them down to get them out of the way. Alright, so now I'm going to decide where I want to put my picks. I think you could use some wheat picks from Dollar Tree, and those would be beautiful here. Just anything that you can find. You can use Dollar Tree or thrift it or take something old apart and use it. So I think I want it to go this way, kind of an L shape. I'm going to trim down that piece of foam just into a smaller section so that it will sit right here on my frame. Now at first I decided to wire this down. So I took my floral wire and I just wrapped it through the openings in the frame and just decided to go around the foam. Problem with this is it doesn't sit flat because the frame has so many little divots and bumps and indentions in it. So I decided to just use my glue gun and just put a little bit of glue here and there. I did not use Gorilla Glue because I want to be sure I can clean this up and take it off to use it again later. But if you want yours to be permanent, you could use Gorilla Glue here or some type of a super glue. Okay, so I have trimmed down my little picks that are going to be our first layer. I'm going to put the first one right in the top. I want it to be a little bit higher than the frame or level with the frame, whichever way you choose. And then I'm going to take this one, going to find the pretty side, and then I'm going to put it right along the bottom of the frame. And I like how it kind of spills downward. It's really pretty to me. So I want to use these green leaves from this flower and the head of this pretty flower on this project. Just going to pull it apart. Okay, take those little pieces of greenery and just poke those right in the foam. If you don't have any pieces of greenery with your flower, not a problem, just grab some leaves. Whatever leaves you find that you like, just use those there. Then I'm going to cut down my foliage pick, and I want to cut these in a varying amount of heights. So some will be short and some will have longer stems. Starting toward the top, I'm going to add one pick right in front of where we put our first picks down, and then I'm going to take another one and go kind of at an angle, so top left and then bottom right, and then I'm going to put a taller one right up top. You'll see just a second what I did here. I'm going to pull it down for you. Right here you can see it's kind of at an angle, gives a little interest, and then I'm just going to continue to go around. So now I'm in the other bottom corner. I like these because they have those little like dried seed pods. Look like little seed pods to me, but anything with acorns or berries would be really pretty as well. Use what you have. So continuing along, I'm just going to add these in where I feel like they look good. I don't want to lay anything completely flat. You can bend your wire, that's totally fine. That helps give you a little height so that things aren't just completely flat. Then I'm going to add some hot glue and press down on the foam. Now because this foam, it doesn't really stick that well with glue. It tends to melt. So I'm just going to take some of these pins that I have, and I'm just going to kind of press those down into the foam to help secure the glue and the foam together. Just press it into that plastic underneath and the base of the flower, and that's going to help hold it in, kind of at an angle like you would do here. Now we're going to work on the bow for this. I'm using my bow maker that I made myself. I'll link that video for you if you'd like to try to make your own. And I'm just going to take this wired ribbon. That's the important thing here. You want wired ribbon for this kind of a bow. I'm going to flip it over so that the pretty side is always facing upward. I just kind of fold it in half, put those two wired edges together and slide it down. It seems to work best for me when making my bows. And I'm just going to make sure that both of these loops in the bow are the same length. I'm going to do this regular speed for you so you see how long it takes me to do it. So if you do it and it takes you a while, don't worry about it, right? We're not perfect here, and we're not trying to be perfect. We're just trying to craft something beautiful, right? Okay, so I have one tail down, one tail up. I'm going to trim it off. Then we're going to go to the next ribbon, I want to sandwich that beautiful Dollar Tree ribbon right in the middle. And you can see here, I'm going to check the ribbon out to see if there's a better side, and both sides are the same. So I don't have to twist anything here. All I have to do is put those wired edges together, slip it down in there, and then press it down. Gonna do the same thing on this side. Fold it over and then press it down. Now, the loops on this bow are going to be about 1 inch shorter than the loops on the bow underneath it. As we add layers of bow, we're going to get them shorter and shorter. And so here's the last one. I've sped it up because it's the same exact thing as the bottom one. I'm going to flip it over, keep that pretty side up, pinch it together, pull it through, making sure that it's a little bit shorter than the other one. You see the layers there, a little step down. Twist it in the middle, holding it still, and then we're going to do the next loop. You can also buy bow maker tools on Amazon, and I do believe I have one linked in my Amazon store. So if you're looking for anything that I show here on my videos, you're most likely to find them there. If not, let me know and I'll be glad to help you. I'm going to take a zip tie, squish it in underneath the bottom, zip it up tight, trim it off, and then cut my dovetails. For some reason today, my dovetails were not behaving. Every time I would make a cut, they were rounding off. I don't know what was going on. Same thing happened here. I cut it just a bit too short, but you see how easy it is to fix that? No big deal. So now, my favorite part is fluffing the bow. I'm just going to start pulling the loops apart, pulling the tails apart. I've sped it up a little bit because, you know, y'all probably know how to do this part. But it really makes a difference in the way the bow looks. If you just leave it flat, you're just not going to have the same presentation that you would otherwise. Alright, so now we know that the bow should go here, and I'm going to use this little floral pin. I'm going to stick it through the back of my ribbon, right by that little zip tie, and then I'm just going to press that up into the bottom of the foam, and you can secure that with a little bit of glue there if you would like. So I'm pressing it in, and then fixing my bow back up because I squished it. I used the fluffing all during the process of making my bow. All during the process. I just like to do it. I like the way the material feels, and I like the way it looks. It's just primping, making it pretty, right? And so at this point, you can go ahead and trim your tails a little shorter if you want. They don't have to be the same length. Go ahead and make some shorter, some longer. It gives extra interest and texture. And that's always a nice thing when you're making projects. Give something more for your eye to dance around, right? Very easy. Move it around however you like it. This is how it's going to look. Now there's a sawtooth hanger on the back, so you can just hang it with that. We're going to start with some Dollar Tree leather tags. I have some thrifted flowers, so I have this beautiful cream colored hydrangea and some more of these other pretty rust colored flowers. And then I have this pick that I thrifted, but you can definitely use a couple of picks from Dollar Tree. This one is really, really thick, very pretty. And then this is a thrifted broom that I got from Goodwill. This is 36 inches. We are going to cut this pick down into smaller pieces. So this will kind of give you an idea. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. You get about 8 little pieces out of here. You would probably need 2 or 3 of the Dollar Tree picks to do this, and you can use whatever you like. If you want to use leaves, you can use leaves, you can use grasses, or whatever you like. I'm going to cut apart the flower picks. You want to leave a little bit of branch on there or stem on there because we're going to be using it to attach it to the wreath. We're going to start with this grass piece right into the center top of the wreath. Then I'm going to put one on each side. The broom itself is kind of thin and small, and that's okay. We're going to beef it up with all this beautiful colored grass. You can even go on the inside and push it up into there. Now, because the broom is so tightly packed underneath where you can see the little braid in the top right corner, these pieces will stick in here just fine if you're going to use this in the house. So you don't have to glue it down unless you're making it to sell it. And just continue along till you get that as thick and full as you like. And I love this, and I love that it extends beyond the wooded part of the broom, or the little stems of the broom. I love it. And now we're going to move to the upper part of the same little sweeping part of the broom. I'm going to go right above the braid, or you see the line where the thread is. I'm going to go right above it with one of those picks and kind of push it to the side. Now it's on wire, so it makes it easy for you to give a little bend to your pieces. Same thing with the Dollar Tree picks. They're on wire, so you can bend them. And if anything pops off, generally you can just pop it right back on there. So no worries about that. Now I'm going to put this other one on the left a little bit lower down than the one on the right, just to give a little bit of interest. I'm going to take the stem of this hydrangea and make a hook. Then I'm going to lay it down on the broom and push it upward. So you can see here how we did that. I have pushed it upward. Now I'm going to take the leaves and push them up on these flowers so that they can be seen. I'm just adjusting my petals a little bit. If you get a piece from the thrift store and it's kind of wild looking, you can always use a little hot glue to arrange your petals and to make it look tighter instead of, opened up so much. Whatever you like. But I love these just the way they are. And I'm just going to put it on the bottom side and press it upward, just like I did the other one. We're going to do that with all of the flowers. You're going to give it a little crook behind the back part. And then just arrange your leaves once you get them pushed up. This is not symmetrical, and there's no certain pattern to this. I love these colors. I knew I had to use the broom when I saw these beautiful colored flowers. They're so nice. And then the little bud, I'll put it right to the side. Sometimes you have to move it around a little bit to make sure that you get it in a tight part of the broom. You don't want anything falling out. So now I'm going to add just a little tag here, and I got out of camera range. I apologize. Y'all know my process. But I'm just adding hot glue, and I'm just going to put it down on the base of the broom and then push the little string part, the leather string part, just up on the inside where you can't see it. You can cut it off if you want, or use it for another project. And this is how this little beauty looks. Love this. This will not be taken apart. This is going to be put right in my house. Perfect piece of fall decor, I think. This is an 18-inch wreath. It's a little bit on the oval side, not completely round, but that's how it is with grapevine wreaths and stick wreaths. I'm going to take some Dollar Tree embellishments as well as magnolias and the greenery that I got from the thrift store. Beautiful. These seed pods came from the thrift store as well. Pine cones. I have a variety of colors here because I'm not sure what I'm going to use yet. These beautiful thrifted pieces. And I'm gonna start by fluffing out my greenery. Now these pieces have already been cleaned and wiped down, so I'm just gonna fluff them out. I'm gonna fix everything where it looks natural, as it would be on a branch. I'm gonna do the same thing with my floral picks. And if you have any dustiness on your leaves, like I'm showing you here, you can use a big brush. This is just a big paintbrush, clean of course and dry. And you can just dust these off. Get in between all your little petals and layers and down the stick and onto the greenery. And you can just very easily do this. Now she's beautiful. I'm going to take my greenery picks and just pick those off. Cut them off. And then I'm going to use a glue stick. If you decide you want to put it outside, you need to use glue. But for me, it's going to be inside, and I am not going to be needing glue. Your picks will go down and stick quite nicely in this type of a wreath. So I'm just going to start. I know that I don't want this to be symmetrical, and I want it to be thicker on the left side than on the right side. So everything's going to be toward the bottom right. I'm going to add in my next pick of magnolia greenery, and I'm just going to press that in there. I'm going to work kind of toward the center at this point. Now this was thrifted and I didn't have enough stem on here, so all you have to do is take a stem off of something else or a skewer or something like that. Take some floral wire and just tightly wind that around. Once you get it as secure as you need it, you can trim it off. Tuck your wires down because you don't want to be poking your fingers. You don't want to do that. We don't want injuries while we're crafting, do we? We don't want anything to slow us down when we're in the flow. So I'm just going to take that now. It's going to work nicely, and I'm going to place it down. Perfect. So now the flowers can go in. I'm going to go to the top, and I'm just going to add my beautiful magnolia on this side. And I'm going to continue around and let you see how I do that. I don't want everything lined up on the top of the wreath. I want some things to be on the kind of facing a little bit toward the outside and the bottom. And then we'll build slightly upward when we put in the next elements. So you can move your greenery around. You can pull some of those darker leaves through if you want. You can press some in the back. You know, it's on wire. These a good quality florals, they'll be on wire, so you can easily move these pieces apart. Then I had some that were just, they weren't on a bigger pick, they were just singular leaves. I'm just going to add those here and there. And continue along with my flowers. I love magnolias. Okay, so now I'm going to do the seed pods, and you can see that I've bent it so that it will face outward and not straight up. I'm going to cut it off to a manageable length and then go ahead and add those in. So I'm going to add one right at the top. I'm going to add one at the bottom, sort of toward the center. And at this point, when I'm doing a wreath or a project, I go by feeling. Don't really think about what I'm doing. There's really no rhyme or reason. I just keep adding in. It's like I kind of get in the zone. If you're a crafter, you probably know what I mean here. I just go with what feels right. If I put something down and I don't like it, I just move it. It's not glued in, so you know that makes it convenient at this point. Just continuing along here and there. Now I'm going to take those little picks from Dollar Tree and I'm going to put them in twos. Some will be single and some will be in twos, and I'm just going to add those here or there. This is the part of the wreath that you could consider your flyaway. It's a little something to give it extra movement and interest. They're small. I love the colors. I love the colors in this wreath. This could, if you didn't have the picks in there, it could probably be like a summer wreath. But the fact that we have those beautiful leathery looking brown leaves and all the brown from the seed pods, I think this is perfect for fall decor. Then you can just add in some of the little picks of pine cones or whatever you have that you like here and there. And I don't want to add a lot here, just a little bit for interest. And I think this turned out beautifully for fall. What do you think? I know magnolias bloom earlier in the year, and at this point they've pretty much gone to the seed pods now. But to put those in there like this, I think they look really nice. So I'm going to take one of these grapevine wreaths. It is about an 18 by, I think, 15, yes. It's an oval, but you choose whatever shape you like. Going to use some of those same picks, cut them all off. I've got some of these little wheat grasses, and I think it's called amaranthus. I've got some of the beautiful leftover picks of eucalyptus, and I'm just going to start adding these in. I love to use a grapevine wreath for autumn and for winter because it just looks more rustic, and that's how I feel. You know, I feel like the outdoors, the beautiful colors, they just really bring a nice textural element into your house, and it's just warm and cozy when the weather starts getting cooler. And I love to use them, and they're really easy to use. This poor wreath I've had forever. You can see I've got jute tied around it to help keep its shape. The stems just go right down in there. Now this is something that you want to put outside. You're going to need to use some glue on this. You're going to need to use like a Gorilla Glue on the end of your picks to keep them all down. But since I recycle mine and use them, you know, over and over again, I want to be sure that I don't glue anything down. And the picks will stay in here pretty good on their own without having to use any glue at all. Y'all, sometimes when I'm doing wreaths, I take things apart and I put them back together. So I'll move stuff around, I'll look at it and decide that, you know, maybe I don't like it and I'll put it someplace else. But once you know for sure where you want it, then you can put your glue down if you want it to be permanent. Now, these little picks here, beautiful little picks that I thrifted, are actually 3 wound together. So always check. When you do this, you can save your money by breaking those pieces apart and spreading them out. What about that? Not a bad idea, right? Just always check and see. If they've got that little paper around it, sometimes you can just peel that paper off and you'll see individual picks in there. Save your money where you can, ladies and gents. All right, so I'm going to start by just placing some here and there. I'm doing the outside of the wreath and then I'm going to the inside. Look at that little bug. You see that little spider? It's a good thing I'm not scared of those. He came out of my florals. Just going to continue placing these down, and you can use anything you have. Lots of times I get the comments that, you know, people can't find the kind of florals that I have, or their thrift stores don't have good florals and stuff like that. But you can go to Dollar General, you can go to Dollar Tree. Walmart has really beautiful picks too, and you can get some of their picks for 98 cents, which makes them even more affordable. You can also find floral picks at garage sales, at estate sales. You know, watch when churches are having sales. You can get things like, you know, from there also. So just a couple of things to keep in mind. Not to mention Black Friday will be coming up, and then Cyber Monday, and you can buy some things and put them back for next year if you've got the space for it. So now, once I've got all those pieces in, I'm just going to start adding this, I think it's amaranthus, or seed pods, whatever you want to use, and add that in here. It's just going to give it a different textural element to keep it interesting. And then just here and there, and then I'm just going to put one randomly over here to the left on the top. Not even going to have one on the right. Not even going to do it. Now I'm going to take a placemat from Dollar Tree, and I'm going to cut that beautiful centerpiece out of there. I'm going to use it in my wreath. It's gorgeous. I had 3 of these. I thought I had 4, but I only had 3, so I can't use them on my table. Once it's cut out, this is how it looks. So I'm going to put it aside and we're going to work on a bow. I am going to make 2 bows for you. We're going to do 2 different ones, 2 different ways, so you can decide what you like best. On the first bow, I'm using 2 pieces of each of these sort of burlappy ribbons, and they are wired, and we're going to make a funky bow, okay? But this time we make the funky bow, we're going to, when we fold it over, make the little loop on the top, we're going to leave 1 strand longer than the other one for each one of those. You see, I'm going to show you as we go along here. I'm not going to do this fast. We're going to do it slow. Going to pinch the next one up, and that loop is about 4 inches across. So you see what we've got so far. I'm going to do the same thing with this one. And this one actually happens to have come from Dollar Tree, that beautiful rust color. This one is from burlapfabric.com, and then the green and the gold that I have came from Hobby Lobby, and I got those from 50% off. So I was very excited to get those. There's a lot of ribbon on there, and you can also use this gold and this green any time of year. You know, you can use this when you're doing your summer arrangements, when you're doing lemons and bees and things like that. Gorgeous. Get it now while you can get it cheaper. I don't want you to have any excuse to not craft, because it's so good for the soul. It's so good for you. Okay, so look at that big bundle. You see? All is still in my hand. I'm going to use a zip tie. I'm going to wrap it around, and then I'm not going to tighten it all the way down yet. I'm actually going to put a piece of floral wire in there, and then I'm going to tighten it up. I'm bad about not putting my wire pipe cleaners in there. Alright, so this is how it's going to look. We're going to go to the long and the short tails, and we're going to dovetail each one of those. I just twisted that floral wire so it wouldn't slip out while I'm fluffing the bow. Just twisted it around the zip tie. And now I'm going to start pulling those loops apart from each other. Pulling them apart, giving them some room to breathe here. I'm going to pull those little short tails up and out also. Spreading everything out, giving it a little bit of room. Okay? We all know how to fluff a bow, but it is very, very important. Very important. Now, when you lay it down, it looks sort of like an octopus, right? It's got all these little pieces sticking out from it, and then it's got the loops right in the middle. I'm going to lay everything down, make sure my wire is twisted in the right direction, try to make sure that I have the colors separated so no two things are together. Then I can just take that floral wire and wrap it around that wreath. Now that's what the funky bow is going to look like on here. I put that on here. I love the colors, but I don't think, in my opinion, this is the right bow for the wreath. So you're going to see me take it off and fix it in a moment. I'll change it up. So I'm taking a popsicle stick. All I had was the wide ones, and I'm just trying to break it into pieces so that I can use this as supports to put the little sign down that we made from the placemat. This is easy to do because you just stick it into the wreath, and then you stick the other one there. It makes kind of like little arms go into the center. You're going to add glue to it to hold it into the wreath, and then also on the arm little parts that are sticking out so that your sign will sit up on it. And because this is like a hard plastic type stuff, it's not going to collapse. It stands up in there on its own. Just going to nestle it down in there and press it to the thing until it is dry, and then fluff my greenery around it. So this is how it's going to look. It's your first option with that particular bow on it. And I love the idea of it. I just wasn't feeling it for this wreath. I just really was not. Let me show you another little trick. If you use your grapevine wreaths over and over again and then you got hot glue on there that won't come off, get a tool like a heat gun or a blow dryer, start warming that up, and then take one of those plastic stems off of your flowers and twist it in the glue. That glue is going to stick to the plastic, and you can pull it right off of there, and then you don't have the mess of the glue on there anymore. See? Look at it coming off. Look at that. Perfectly erased. Love it. So I decided I wanted this copper ribbon on my wreath. Now I made my own wreath, my own bow making tool here. That's what you're seeing. I do have a video, and I'll either put it in the comment section, the description box, or I will put a card in the video so that you can go and make your own if you're interested. They don't cost a lot of money anyway if you buy the tool, the branded tool, but you can make your own if you want to, and it doesn't cost a lot of money, and it's super easy. I'm not even a power tool kind of girl, and I made my own. Okay, so we're going to leave a piece of tail out about 12 inches long, and then we're going to start making loops, and I think I did 6-inch loops here. We're going to do the same on both sides several times. So I'm just going to take that again. I like to kind of fold it in the middle, put the wires together, and then press it down, flip it over. If your ribbon is the same on both sides, you don't have to do that flip over in the middle, but mine is not. One side is shinier than the other, and I want the shiny side out or up. So the pretty side up, right? That's what you're seeing me do. I'm trying to keep that pretty side up. I think I end up with about 3 loops on each side at about 6 inches per loop. I am not sure how much ribbon that was. So you're going to have to actually do the math yourself on this one. I apologize. Okay, it looks like I've actually got 4 loops on each side. So either way you want to do it, the more loops that you put, the fluffier your bow is going to be, or the bigger your bow is going to be. All right, so then I'm going to cut the other tail off. I'm going to take a little piece of that copper ribbon and tie it right around the middle. I'm going to tie it around the middle to hold the bow together, and we're going to tie this around the wreath. Now I'm going to tie it in the same spot where the other one was, and I just really feel that this is the better bow. What do you think? You can do it either way, and I'm happy to have shown you both ways. I show you my mess ups and I show you my stuff that I end up with. Then I want to cover the little gap, so I'm just moving that greenery around. No problem there, easy to do.